The rain hammered the windshield like fists of regret as Connor slammed on the brakes, tires screeching across the desolate California highway. His heart jackhammered in his chest, the rearview mirror reflecting nothing but the black void of night, and the ghosts of headlines he'd never meant to write. "You think you can bury me?" Zachary's voice echoed in his skull, low and venomous, the last words before the world had exploded into chaos. But chaos had a funny way of circling back. Connor's eyes fluttered open to silk sheets that smelled of expensive cologne and betrayal, his body aching like he'd been dragged through hell barefoot. The ceiling above was a cathedral of vaulted wood beams, and beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, the sprawl of Los Angeles twinkled like a promise he couldn't trust. He was in a bed that wasn't his, in a room that screamed old money, and the man who'd hunted him down was nowhere in sight. Yet the door creaked open, and there he was, Zachary Hale, alpha of alphas, holding a steaming mug like it was an olive branch dipped in poison. Connor bolted upright, the sheets tangling around his legs like restraints he couldn't shake. His throat burned, raw from shouting into the void during that endless drive from Sacramento, where it had all gone to shit. The article, his goddamn Pulitzer bait exposé on Zachary's shadowy campaign funds, had hit the wires at midnight, and by dawn, Connor's apartment was crawling with suits who weren't feds. They'd trashed his place, smashed his laptop, and left a single business card on the wreckage. Hale for Senate, with a handwritten note in Zachary's elegant scrawl. "Run if you want. But you won't get far." He'd run anyway, pedal to the metal down I-5, paranoia gnawing at him like a bad trip. Every headlight in the mirror was a tale, every static crackle on the radio a warning. By the time he'd ditched the car in a Barstow ditch and hitched a ride toward the desert, exhaustion had claimed him in the back of a stranger's pickup. And now, this. A mansion perched on the Hollywood Hills like a crown of thorns, all glass and steel and views that mocked his broke-ass reality. The door swung wider, and Zachary stepped in. His presence filling the room like smoke from a cigar he wasn't allowed to light anymore. At 45, he was the kind of man who made headlines for his chiseled jaw and ice-blue eyes, the silver fox senator-to-be who'd charmed his way from Wall Street to Washington with a smile that could disarm a bomb. But Connor knew better. Those eyes weren't charming now. They were stormy, laced with something darker, hurt, fury, he couldn't tell, and that scared him more than the chase. "You're awake," Zachary said, voice smooth as bourbon, setting the mug on the nightstand. Black coffee, strong enough to wake the dead. "Good. I was starting to think I'd have to call a doctor." Connor's hand shot to his side, expecting the phantom sting of a bullet he swore he'd dodged. But there was nothing, just bruises from the wreck. "What the fuck is this, Hale? Your idea of a black site interrogation? Kidnap me? Playhouse? Then what, waterboard me with Perrier?" Zachary's lips twitched. Not quite a smile. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed over a crisp white shirt unbuttoned just enough to show the tanned V of his chest. "Kidnap? Dramatic. Even for you, Riley. You passed out in my driveway at 3 a.m., pounding on the gate like a man possessed. Security dragged you in, dragged, mind you, because you were fighting like a wildcat. Figured the least I could do was let you sleep it off before I tossed you to the wolves." Connor's mind reeled, fragments piecing together, the hitchhiker's drop-off at the base of the hills, the uphill stumble through fog-shrouded gates, the insane impulse to confront the devil at his door. Why here? Why now? He'd spent months digging into Zachary's life. Offshore accounts funneled through fake charities, backroom deals with big pharma that lined his pockets while addicts OD'd in the streets. It was supposed to be his big break, the story that toppled an empire. Instead, it had toppled him. Bullshit, Connor spat, swinging his legs off the bed. He was in boxers and a borrowed robe, his own clothes nowhere in sight. You sent them after me. Those goons in my apartment, your fingerprints are all over it. Zachary's gaze hardened, but he didn't deny it. He pushed off the frame and crossed the room in 3 strides, towering over Connor with that effortless dominance that made voters swoon and rivals cower. Close, he smelled like cedar and sin, the kind of scent that lingered on hotel sheets after a one-night stand you regretted but replayed anyway. If I'd sent them, you'd be floating in the Pacific by now, not sipping my coffee. But yeah, I know about the story. Saw it before you hit publish, had a mole in your newsroom. Sloppy, Connor. You think a guy like me gets this far without eyes everywhere? Connor's stomach twisted. Betrayal on betrayal. His own editor. Probably. Greased by Zachary's bottomless checkbook. He lunged up, fists clenched. But Zachary caught his wrist mid-swing. Grip firm but not cruel. Their faces were inches apart. Breaths mingling in the charged air. And for a split second, Connor saw it. The crack in the armor. The flicker of something raw and human in those blue eyes. Let go, Connor growled. But his voice cracked, body betraying him with a shiver that had nothing to do with fear. Not until you hear me out. Zachary's thumb brushed the pulse point on Connor's wrist. A touch that was electric. Unintended. That story? It's suicide. Not just for me. For you. The donors I crossed? They're not the forgiving type. You run with it. You're not just unemployed. You're erased. Connor yanked free. Heat flooding his cheeks. And you care because? What? Silver spoon guilt? Or is this the part where you offer me a payoff to shut up? Zachary laughed. A low rumble that echoed off the walls. Payoff? Kid? If I wanted you silenced, I'd have done it 6 months ago, when you first started sniffing around my office. He paused, eyes dropping to Connor's mouth, then lower, lingering on the exposed skin where the robe gaped. No. I care because... because I've been watching you too. Not just your byline. You, the admission hung there, heavy as the storm clouds rolling in over the city. Connor's breath hitched. 6 months ago, that's when the late-night stakeouts had started. Connor parked outside Zachary's D.C. townhouse, notebook in hand, heart pounding not just from adrenaline. He told himself it was the story, the thrill of the hunt. But there were moments. Zachary emerging at dawn in running gear, sweat slicked and alive. The way he'd locked eyes with Connor across a crowded fundraiser, a spark that felt like recognition, like desire. Connor had buried it deep, chalked it up to the high of the job. Gay in a newsroom full of straight-laced sharks? Not a risk he took. But now, in this gilded cage, the truth clawed its way out. Watching me, Connor echoed, voice barely above a whisper. Like a stalker? Or like a man who sees fire in someone and wants to get burned. Zachary stepped closer, crowding him against the bedpost. The air thickened, charged with the scent of rain and unspoken want. Connor's pulse thrummed, every nerve alight. He should shove him away, demand his clothes, bolt for the door. Instead, he tilted his chin up, defiant, daring. And Zachary took the bait. His hand cupped Connor's jaw, thumb tracing the bruise blooming there from the wreck, a gentle contrast to the alpha storm in his eyes. Their lips met in a crash of heat and hesitation, Zachary's mouth firm, tasting of mint and urgency. Connor gasped into it, hands fisting Zachary's shirt, pulling him closer even as his mind screamed betrayer. It was messy, desperate, tongues tangling like they'd been starving for this since that first stolen glance. When they broke apart, chests heaving, Zachary's forehead rested against Connor's. "Stay," he murmured, voice rough. "Just tonight. Let me protect you." Connor wanted to laugh, to rage. Protect? From the man who'd built an empire on lies? But the warmth of Zachary's body, the vulnerability cracking through his facade, it chipped at Connor's walls. "One night," he conceded, hating himself for it. "Then I'm gone." As Zachary's arms wrapped around him, drawing him back to the bed, Connor wondered if one night could rewrite a lifetime of running. The city lights blurred through the rain-streaked windows, a glittering lie, and for the first time in months, sleep came not as escape, but as surrender. Morning light filtered through the blinds like a hesitant confession, painting the room in gold and regret. Connor stirred, Zachary's arm heavy across his waist, the politician's breath warm against his neck. It felt dangerously right. Two broken men tangled in sheets that cost more than Connor's rent. But as he slipped free, padding to the window, the illusion shattered. Below, black SUVs idled at the gate, men in shades scanning the perimeter. Zachary's security detail, or the wolves he'd warned about, he dressed in silence, pulling on his rumpled jeans and hoodie from the night before, found folded on a chair like an afterthought. Zachary woke as Connor reached the door, sitting up with that tousled morning sexiness that made tabloids cream their jeans. "Going somewhere?" His tone was light, but his eyes were sharp, calculating. "Breakfast, maybe, or freedom." "Haven't decided." Connor forced a smirk, but his gut churned. Last night had been a fever dream. Hands exploring scars neither had earned honestly, whispers of "I see you" amid gasps and groans. Zachary had been tender, almost reverent, tracing the ink on Connor's ribs, truth or consequences. "Which is it gonna be?" Zachary swung out of bed, gloriously naked, muscles honed from gym sessions that screamed privilege. He closed the distance, backing Connor against the door with a hand on either side of his head. "Truth," he said, voice low. "I meant what I said. Those donors, Russians, mostly, laundering cash through my pack. I took it to fund real shit addiction clinics in the valley, scholarships for kids like you came from. Rough edges, big dreams." Connor's laugh was bitter. "Noble thief? Bear me. I have the emails, the wire transfers. It's not gray, it's black and white." "Is it?" Zachary's hand slid to Connor's hip, thumb dipping under his waistband, a distraction that worked too well. "You think I don't know what it's like to scrape by? Born with a silver spoon? Bullshit. Dad was a drunk assemblyman who lost everything in '08. I clawed my way up, same as you. Difference is, I learned the game's rigged. You expose it, they don't reform. They replace you with someone who plays along." The words landed like punches, echoing Connor's own cynicism after too many retractions and buried stories. He searched Zachary's face, seeing the weariness behind the polish, the lines etched from boardrooms and betrayals. "Then why me? Why not bury the story like you did the others?" "Because you're different." Zachary's lips brushed his ear, sending shivers down Connor's spine. You don't just report the dirt, you dig for the roots. And yeah, maybe because from the first time I saw you, hell, from that op-ed you wrote on queer kids in foster care, I couldn't look away. Connor's breath caught. That piece had been personal, ripped from his own foster system hell, bounced between homes in Ohio, coming out at 16 to a string of indifferent caseworkers. It had gone viral, landed him at the Chronicle. Zachary's campaign had donated to the charity it spotlighted. Anonymous, but Connor had connected dots. Flattery or foreplay? Both. Zachary kissed him then, slow and deep, like he was memorizing the taste. Connor melted into it, hands roaming the broad plains of Zachary's back, nails digging in just enough to mark. They stumbled back to the bed, clothes shedding like old skins, bodies slotting together with a familiarity that defied the hours they'd known each other this way. After, sprawled in a tangle of limbs, Zachary traced lazy circles on Connor's chest. Pull the story. I'll give you the real dirt, names, dates, proof. We take them down together. You get the byline. I get redemption. It was temptation wrapped in temptation. Zachary's head on his shoulder, heartbeat sinking like a lullaby. Connor wanted to believe it, them against the machine, lovers and crusaders. But doubt whispered he's a politician. Trust is currency, and he spends it like water. The day unfolded in a haze of domestic illusion. Zachary's chef whipped up eggs Benedict in a kitchen that could host a gala, while Connor nursed coffee at a marble island, scrolling encrypted backups of his files on a burner phone Zachary had magically produced. The mansion was a fortress, infinity pool overlooking the smog-choked basin, a home gym with views of the Griffith Observatory, walls lined with abstract art that screamed, "I have more money than God." They really talked for hours. Zachary opened up about his own closet, outed at 22 by a jealous ex, career nearly DOA until he spun it into relatable grit. Connor shared fragments of his scars, the foster dad who beat him for acting girly, the college hookup that ended in a slashed tire and whispers of faggot. Laughter crept in, tentative, over Zachary's terrible dad jokes and Connor's impressions of pompous editors. By afternoon, they were in the library, Zachary's arms around Connor from behind as they pored over redacted docs, plotting a counterstrike. But paradise cracked when Connor's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Pull it or we pull you. Check your email. Attached was a grainy photo. Connor, passed out in the pickup, time-stamped hours before the mansion. Someone had been tailing him longer than Zachary admitted. Who the hell is this? Connor demanded, shoving the screen under Zachary's nose. Zachary's face paled, a rare chink. My ex-partner. Victor Lang. Ex in every sense, business, bed, boardroom. He runs the pack. If he knows you're here, the air turned to ice. Victor, the shadowy financier who'd bankrolled Zachary's rise, the one Connor's story had painted as the puppet master. Betrayal's first bitter taste. You said you'd protect me. Was that before or after you invited the wolf in sheep's clothing? I didn't invite shit. Zachary grabbed his own phone, barking orders to security. But as sirens wailed faintly in the distance, cops or worse, Connor realized the mansion wasn't sanctuary. It was a trap, gilded and inevitable. The gates groaned open like a death knell, admitting 2 squad cars that screamed LAPD but reeked of bought badges. Connor watched from the library window, heart in his throat, as uniformed officers piled out, hands hovering near holsters. Zachary was already in motion, shrugging into a blazer with the practiced calm of a man who'd faced congressional hearings hung over. "Stay here," he ordered, voice brooking no argument. "I'll handle it." "Handle it," Connor hissed, grabbing his arm. "These aren't traffic cops. That's Victor's play. Frame me for trespassing, resisting, whatever sticks. You think your charm works on bought and paid for badges?" Zachary's eyes softened, just a fraction, his hand covering Connor's in a squeeze that said trust me without words. "I've got pull. Let me use it." He leaned in, pressing a quick, fierce kiss to Connor's temple, scent of cologne and coffee, a lifeline in the storm. Then he was gone, striding out to the driveway like a general to battle. Connor paced the Persian rug, nerves frayed as barbed wire. The library was a tomb of leather-bound tomes and forgotten scandals, Hemingway glaring from a shelf, as if judging his cowardice. He should bolt, scale the back wall, vanish into the canyons like the runaway he was born to be. But Zachary's words echoed, "We take them down together." Partnership. Love? Too soon for labels, but the ache in his chest said otherwise. Muffled voices drifted up, Zachary's smooth baritone clashing with a gravelly bark that had to be the lead detective. "Senator Hale, we have a warrant for the property. Suspicious activity reported. Unidentified male. Possible break-in." "Break-in?" Zachary's laugh was pure theater. "Officer, that's my guess. Rough night. Ended up here. No crime. Just bad decisions." Snorts from the cops. "Guest? Huh? Mind if we verify? Got a tip he's connected to that data breach up north, the Chronicle hack." Connor's blood ran cold. Hack? His story hadn't just leaked. It had been weaponized. Victor, that slimy bastard, twisting the knife. He edged to the French doors, peering through gauzy curtains. Zachary stood tall amid the cluster, all 6'3" of tailored authority. But Connor spotted the tension in his shoulders, the way his fists clenched at his sides. Then it escalated. One cop, a burly guy with a mustache that screamed 80s cop show, shoved forward, badge glinting. "Step aside, sir. We're coming in." "The hell you are." Zachary blocked the door, voice dropping to that alpha growl that made knees weak. "Without probable cause? Call your captain." Now, the standoff stretched, taut as a bowstring. Connor's burner buzzed again. Another text. Tick-tock. "Your foster records make for juicy reading. Come quiet, or mama's little secret goes viral." His vision tunneled. Foster records, the abuse, the experiments with older boys in group homes. He'd buried that deeper than Watergate. Victor didn't just have dirt, he had dynamite. Fuck staying put. Connor slipped into the hall, pulse thundering, aiming for the service stairs. The mansion's underbelly was a maze of pantries and wine cellars, but he knew layouts from too many stakeouts. If he could reach the garage, hotwire one of those sleek Teslas. A hand clamped his shoulder. He whirled, fist raised, only to meet Zachary's security chief, a stone-faced ex-Marine named Reyes. "Boss says hole up in the panic room." "Now, panic room," Connor scoffed, but Reyes's grip was iron, propelling him toward a hidden panel behind a Rothko knockoff. The door hissed open on pneumatic hinges, revealing a bunker straight out of a spy flick, monitors flickering with perimeter cams, a mini-fridge stocked with water and MREs, even a cot that smelled of disuse. "Victor," Reyes grunted, punching in a code. The room sealed with a thud. Yeah. How'd you? Overheard the comms. Hale's stalling, but Lang's got half the department in his pocket. Sit tight. The screens showed chaos unfolding. Cops breaching the foyer. Zachary arguing with a suit who screamed Fed, FBI? No. Private muscle. Victor's flavor. Connor's stomach nodded as Zachary took a shove. Staggering but not falling. His glare pure venom. Then Reyes's radio crackled. Intruders loose. East Wing. Shit. They'd spotted his shadow on cams. Reyes cursed, drawing a Glock. Stay. Lock's biometric. Your print's not in yet. He vanished, leaving Connor in the glow of screens, a voyeur to his own apocalypse. He watched Zachary get cuffed. Cuffed. The mighty Senator Hale, wrists zip-tied like a common perp. This is assault, Zachary roared, but the cops dragged him toward the cars, Victor's proxy smirking from the sidelines. Connor's hands shook as he yanked at the panel. Futile, sealed tight. Trapped, just like Zachary had warned. But watching the love of his life, hauled away ignited something feral. He scanned the room, toolkit on a shelf, wires dangling from a junction box. MacGyver time. Minutes later, sparks flew as he hot-wired the lock, the door popping with a hiss. Alarms wailed, red lights pulsing like a migraine. He sprinted down corridors, dodging shadows, emerging into the garage just as tires squealed outside. Keys blessedly, a fob on the workbench. The Audi roared to life, barrier arm snapping like kindling as he gunned it down the drive. The convoy was halfway to the gate. Connor swerved onto the lawn, clipping a cruiser, horn blaring. Zachary, heads turned. Zachary twisted in the back of the lead car, eyes locking on Connor's through the chaos. A beat, then he headbutt the partition, shouting something lost to the din. The cop driving Zachary's SUV braked hard, fishtailing. Connor rammed it, metal crunching, airbags deploying in a white bloom. Dazed, he kicked free, lunging for the door. Get out, now! Zachary burst forth, tackling the cop who'd emerged gun first. Fists flew, Zachary's polished knuckles splitting on the guy's jaw, until Reyes appeared from the shadows, zip-tying the lot with zip efficiency. Victor's man bolted for his ride, but Connor was faster, hurling a tire iron through the windshield. Glass shattered, the engine sputtered dead. Panting, bloodied, they stood amid the wreckage, Zachary hauling Connor into a crushing embrace, lips crashing in a kiss that tasted of copper and victory. You crazy son of a bitch, Zachary murmured against his mouth. My hero, you're idiot, Connor shot back, but he clung tighter, the adrenaline crash leaving him boneless. Sirens wailed in the distance, real ones this time. Reyes barked into his radio, clean up on aisle rich, as black vans, Zachary's Real security, swarmed in. Victor's play crumbled. The financier himself slunk from a side entrance, phone to ear, but Zachary rounded on him like a lion. Game over, Vic. You touch him, you touch me, and I end you. Victor's sneer faltered, eyes darting to Connor. He's poison, Zach. That story. Our story now. Zachary's arm snaked around Connor's waist. Possessive. Protective. You want war? Bring it. But leave the innocence out. Innocence. The word warmed Connor's chest. A balm on old wounds. Victor spat a curse and fled into the hills, tail between his legs. The cops, crooked ones rounded up, real feds en route, left the driveway a graveyard of flashing lights. That night, after statements and stitches, they retreated to the master suite, the city a distant hum. Zachary drew a bath in a tub big enough for sin, scented with eucalyptus that eased the knots in Connor's soul. They soaked together, Zachary's chest to Connor's back, fingers interlacing under sudsy water. "I almost lost you today," Zachary whispered, lips grazing Connor's shoulder. "Before I even had you." Connor turned in the circle of his arms, water sloshing. "You had me the second you didn't throw me out. But it's a minefield. Your world's poison too." Zachary's eyes, soft in the candlelight, held no evasion. "Then we defuse it. Together. No more running." Their lovemaking was slower this time, reverent, hands mapping every inch, mouths whispering promises against skin. Connor arched under Zachary's touch, gasps turning to moans as fingers and lips coaxed him to the edge. Then over, Zachary following with a shudder that felt like absolution. Curled in bed after, Zachary's heartbeat a steady drum under Connor's ear, doubt crept back. Victor was down, not out. The story loomed, a guillotine. But for now, in the quiet, Connor let himself believe. Love in the shadows wasn't fairy tale. It was fight. And they were fighters. Weeks blurred into a fragile rhythm. Zachary pulled strings, lawyers, leaks, a quiet resignation from the Senate race that stunned the pundits. Personal reasons, the statement read, but whispers swirled. Scandal, breakdown, affair. Connor holed up in the mansion, rewriting the exposé with Zachary's intel, turning it from takedown to testament. Victor's empire unraveled thread by thread, indictments, freezes, a front-page splash in the Times that bore Connor's byline, "The Cost of Compromise." But paradise had teeth. Late one night, as rain lashed the windows again, Zachary's phone lit up with a blocked call. He answered in the study, voice hushed, but Connor caught fragments. Dot can't bury it forever. He's a liability. Eavesdropping from the hall, Connor's world tilted. Liability? Him? The betrayal stung fresh, a knife twist in the gut. He slipped away before confrontation, mind racing. Was it all a long con, real in the journalist? Flipped the narrative. Emerged the martyr? Morning brought forced normalcy. Breakfast on the terrace. Zachary's foot hooked around Connor's under the table. Smiles that didn't reach his eyes. "Big day," Zachary said, buttering toast. "Meeting with the DA. Victor's sweating." "Yeah." "Great." Connor poked at his eggs. Appetite gone. The words burned. Liability. He waited until Zachary left, then rifled the study, drawers yielding nothing but campaign swag, until the safe. Code. Their first date night. The fundraiser where eyes had locked. Inside, files. Yes. But one marked contingency. Riley. Heart hammering. He cracked it. Memos. Timelines, not destruction, but defense. Protect assets C. Riley at all costs. Leak to discredit if compromised. Asset? Connor slammed it shut. Nausea rising. Protection or possession. He confronted Zachary that evening, storming the home office mid-call. Asset? That's me? Your pet project. Zachary hung up, face ashen. Connor. It's not. Bullshit. You planned this. The chase. The rescue. All to make you the White Knight. No! Zachary surged up, rounding the desk. It was contingency for Victor. If he came for you, we'd spin it, make him the villain. I never, God. I love you, you idiot. That's why. Love. The word hung, weaponized. Connor laughed. Hollow. Love or leverage? I exposed you, and now I'm your shield. Zachary grabbed his arms, desperate. Listen. I fucked up. Didn't tell you because I knew you'd bolt. But it's real. This, he yanked open his shirt, revealing a fresh tattoo over his heart. Truth or consequences, Connor's ink mirrored. Permanent. Like us. Connor stared, throat tight. Vulnerability, raw as the needle's bite. But trust fractured didn't mend easy. Prove it. Kill the contingency. Burn it. Zachary nodded, feeding the file to the shredder without hesitation. Sparks flew, papers curling to ash. Done. Now believe me, they collided then. Fury fueling passion, kisses bruising, bodies slamming together on the desk, papers scattering like confetti. Zachary took him hard, whispering mine and sorry between thrusts. Connor clawing his back, chasing release from the pain. It was catharsis, messy and true. In the afterglow, tangled on the rug, Connor traced the tattoo. No more secrets. None. Zachary's vow was steel. But secrets had a way of resurfacing. A week later, an envelope arrived, no postmark, slipped under the gate. Inside photos. Them, kissing on the balcony, loving in the library. Stamped, Lang Collection. And a note, one story down. Yours next. Resign, or everyone knows the senator's dirty little secret. The photos hit like a gut punch. Each glossy print a betrayal captured in high-def betrayal. Connor stared at them spread across the kitchen island. The evidence of their stolen moments now ammunition in Victor's war. Zachary paced like a caged panther, phone glued to his ear, unleashing hell on lawyers who promised injunctions and NDAs but delivered only legalese fog. We go public, Connor said finally, voice steady despite the tremor in his hands. Beat him to it. You're coming out, are coming out as a power move. Zachary froze, mid-stride. Public? Baby, you know what that does. The party pulls funding. Donors scatter. The base riots with pitchforks and prayers. I'm done before I start. Exactly. Connor swept the photos into a pile, igniting them in the sink with a Zippo from Zachary's drawer. Flames licked up, curling edges black. You're already done, Zach. Resigning half-assed. Victor's dangling that to keep you leashed. But if we own it, we're the story. The gay power couple taking down corruption. Humanizes you, buries him. Zachary's laugh was wry, pained. He crossed to Connor, hands framing his face, thumbs brushing cheeks flushed with firelight. Power couple? Christ, you make it sound like a rom-com. But yeah, maybe. If you're sure. Connor nodded, the weight of it settling like a vow. Sure? Hell no. His own closet had doors kicked in years ago, but Zachary's was a vault, built on Bible Belt donors and family values BS. Coming out could torch everything. But love, real love, wasn't safe. It was scorched earth and rebuilding. They planned in whispers over takeout Thai, the mansion's vastness shrinking to just them on the couch, knees touching, plotting like outlaws. A joint presser, Zachary announcing withdrawal, Connor revealing the exposé, hand in hand to seal it. And the photos? Zachary asked, chopsticks pausing midair. Flip them. Leak a tame one, balcony kiss, fully clothed. Tease, don't tell. Let the tabs salivate while we control the narrative. Zachary's eyes gleamed, admiration mixing with heat. You're a goddamn genius, Riley. He set the carton aside, tugging Connor onto his lap, mouths meeting in a slow burn that escalated fast. Hands roamed, shirts discarded, Zachary's mouth hot on Connor's neck as he ground up, friction sparking stars. My genius. They made love there, on velvet cushions, Zachary entering him with a reverence that bordered on worship, slow rolls of hips, eyes locked, breaths sinking in a rhythm older than words. Connor came undone first, crying out Zachary's name like a prayer, and Zachary followed, burying his face in Connor's shoulder, muffling groans that sounded like forever. The presser was set for dawn at a neutral spot, Griffith Observatory, symbolic as hell, stars above, city below, truth in the telescope lens. They prepped till midnight, Zachary's team a whirlwind of PR sharks and makeup artists, Connor dodging mics like landmines. But sleep evaded, anxiety gnawing. In bed, Zachary held him close, fingers carding through sweat-damp hair. Scared, terrified, Connor admitted, tracing the tattoo's edges. You, out my mind, Zachary kissed his forehead. But with you, worth it. Dawn broke bloody, smog-choked skies mirroring the mood. The observatory's lawn crawled with press, CNN vans, paparazzi drones buzzing like hornets. Zachary stepped to the podium in a navy suit that hugged his frame like sin, Connor at his side in jeans and a blazer, the everyman to his polish. Flashes popped like gunfire. Ladies and gentlemen, Zachary began, voice steady over the wind. Today I withdraw from the Senate race. Not because of weakness, but strength. See, I've spent years fighting shadows, in boardrooms, backrooms, my own damn head. And the man beside me, he dragged me into the light. Murmurs rippled. Zachary turned, taking Connor's hand, lifting it high. Connor Riley, journalist, lover, the bravest soul I know. We're together. And together, we're exposing the rot. Victor Lang's laundering ring. The pack that bought silence with blood money. Gasps. Shouts. Connor stepped up, throat dry, unleashing the story, facts, figures. Zachary's redemption arc woven in like gold thread. The crowd ate it up, cameras whirring, but Victor's counterstrike hit mid-speech. A drone feed hijacked, blasting the explicit photos across jumbotrons and live streams. Connor frozen, Zachary's grip tightening like a vice. Chaos erupted, reporters surging, security scrambling. Faggot! Someone yelled from the fringes, a red-faced zealot waving a sign. Zachary shielded Connor, barking at Reyes to clear a path. But the damage bloomed viral, hail scandal trending, memes twisting their love into punchlines. They fled to the Audi, tires spinning gravel, Zachary's knuckles white on the wheel. Fuckers. I'll sue him into the Stone Age. Connor stared at his phone, notifications exploding. Support poured in, queer icons retweeting solidarity, allies decrying the smear. But the hate, a tidal wave, death threats, slurs carving into his mentions like knives. "We knew it'd hurt," he said, voice small. "But this." Zachary pulled over on a canyon overlook, killing the engine. He turned, cupping Connor's face, ice fierce. "Hey, look at me. This isn't us. It's noise. We are the story, the real one." Their kiss was salt-tinged, desperate. Zachary's hands fisting Connor's shirt as if anchoring them both. Deepened, spilling into the back seat, clothes hiked up in frantic need. Zachary's mouth on him, hot and insistent, drawing moans that drowned the world's roar. Connor reciprocated, taking Zachary deep, savoring the hitch in his breath, the way he shattered with Connor's name on his lips. Spent and sticky, they drove home in silence, the mansion a refuge once more. But Victor wasn't done. That night, as they decompressed with whiskey neat, the doorbell chimed. Reyes, face grim, holding a flash drive. Lang's Hail Mary, dropped by courier. Says it's everything on you both. Zachary snatched it, plugging into his laptop. Files flooded the screen. Connor's foster horrors, digitized and damning. Zachary's old skeletons, youthful arrests, a cover-up in his Wall Street days. And worse, audio. Their bedroom whispers, pillow talk recorded via bugs planted months ago. "Son of a bitch," Zachary snarled, smashing the drive under his heel. He was in the walls. Connor went numb, violation crawling under his skin. "How long?" "Since the beginning." My security sweep missed it. Zachary pulled him close, but Connor stiffened, pulling away. "The contingency. You said no secrets, but this, you let him in." "I didn't know." Zachary's voice cracked, desperation raw. "Swear on my life, but trust, fragile as spun glass, shattered." Connor grabbed his jacket, heading for the door. "I need air. Space." "Connor, please." Zachary followed, rain soaking them on the steps. "Don't run." "Not from this." "I'm not running," Connor lied, hailing an Uber through the downpour. "I'm surviving." The car peeled away, mansion shrinking in the mirror. Zachary's silhouette fading, a broken king in the storm. Days bled into a gray haze. Connor crashed at a Fleabag motel off Sunset. Burner phone dead. The world a buzz of headlines. Hale's heartbreak hoax? Victor crowed victory in shadows. His pack resurrecting. Donors flocking back to the victim. Connor ghosted the story, holing up with cheap bourbon and bad TV. Replaying every touch, every I love you, wondering if it was all smoke. A knock shattered the third night. Zachary, drenched, ice-haunted. "Let me in." Connor barred the door, chain rattling. "Go home, Senator. Your mess is cleaned." "It's our mess." Zachary pressed a hand to the frame, pleading. "I tore the house apart, found 3 bugs, all Vicks. Tore up the contract with him too. Publicly. Check the feeds." Connor hesitated, then unchained, stepping back. Zachary entered like a man entering judgment, dripping on the shag carpet. "I sold the mansion, donating proceeds to those clinics. No more empires. Just if you'll have me." The vulnerability undid him, the alpha stripped bare, offering everything. Connor's walls crumbled. "Idiot," he muttered, yanking Zachary close. Their kiss was rain and redemption, bodies crashing together on the lumpy bed. frantic and forgiving. Zachary inside him, slow and deep, tears mixing with sweat as they chased healing in each other's arms. Morning brought tentative peace. Zachary's phone rang, DA's office. Victor indicted. Full Monty, racketeering, extortion. Their story had tipped the scales. But joy was fleeting. Connor's phone lit up next. His editor, frantic. Kid, you're blowing up, but not good. Board wants you back. Or sued for defamation. Hale's name's mud. Zachary's face fell. They'll bury you to save face. Connor's choice crystallized. Then I walk. Freelance. Our truth, not their spin. Hand in hand, they faced the fire press tours, therapy sessions, a quiet wedding in the canyons, rings exchanged under starlight. Love wasn't mansion grand. It was motel gritty, earned in the trenches. Yet shadows lingered. Victor's trial loomed, a specter promising cross-exams that would flay them open. Connor dreamed of photos, whispers, the chase that never ended. The courtroom in downtown LA was a coliseum of polished wood and fluorescent hate. Victor Lang holding court from the defense table like a deposed god. Connor sat in the gallery, Zachary's hand a lifeline in his, the air thick with whispers and the metallic tang of fear. It had been 6 months since the observatory debacle, 6 months of rebuilding on scorched earth. Their book deal, Shadows of Power, had hit bestseller lists, a raw memoir of corruption and closet-burning love that humanized them both. But Victor's trial? That was the final gauntlet. Prosecutors paraded witnesses, shell company execs with guilty pleas, junkies testifying to clinics starved for Zachary's compromised funds. Connor's testimony came third day, under oath, recounting the chase, the bugs, the photos that had stripped him bare. Victor's lawyers pounced, smirks and objections, painting him as a jilted lover with an axe to grind. Mr. Riley, the lead shark drawled, spectacles glinting, you allege extortion via intimate images. Yet these victims appear consensual. Jealousy, perhaps, Mr. Hale discarding you for political expediency. Objection sustained, but the poison seeped. Connor gripped the stand, voice steady. Jealousy? No. Justice? Hell yes. Victor didn't just steal money. He stole dignity, mine, Zach's. Every kid who OD'd waiting for help that never came. The jury nodded. Some, others averted eyes. Back at their new place, a modest bungalow in Silver Lake, pool traded for a yard with lemon trees, Zachary held him through the shakes. You slayed, babe. Saw it in their faces. Their lovemaking that night was gentle. A bomb. Zachary's lips trailing fire down Connor's spine, fingers curling inside him with patient precision, drawing out whimpers that built to a crescendo. Connor flipped them, taking control, riding Zachary slow, watching his eyes flutter shut in surrender. Yours, Zachary gasped, coming apart, and Connor followed, sealing the claim. But Victor's turn was venom. On the stand, he spun tales of betrayal. Hale used me, bed and business, then sicked his boy toy to smear me when I wouldn't play anymore. Gasps rippled. The judge banged for order. Evidence mounted. Zachary's old emails, parsed out of context, painting him the manipulator. Zachary testified last. Suit traded for button-down sincerity. Voice cracking on the stand. I loved Victor once. Trusted him. But he twisted that into chains. Connor? He freed me. He locked eyes with Connor across the room. A look that said we endure. The tattoo peeked at his collar. A silent vow. Closing arguments were bloodsport. Prosecution hammering greed. Defense weeping victimhood. The jury deliberated 2 days. Agony in waiting rooms with bad coffee and worse doubt. Connor paced their bungalow. Zachary brewing tea like a lifeline. Whatever happens, we win. We're free. Verdict dropped like thunder. Guilty on all counts. 20 years. No parole. Victor's glare from the dock was pure hate. But as marshals led him away, he spat, "This ain't over. Hail. Your pretty boy's next." Relief crashed like waves, but the threat lingered. That night, they celebrated quietly, candlelit dinner on the patio, wine flowing, bodies joining under the stars on a blanket spread on grass. Zachary's mouth everywhere, teasing, worshipping, Connor's hands guiding, demanding, their union a defiant fuck you to the world. Life normalized, fragile as new leaves. Connor freelanced. Pieces in the Atlantic on queer resilience. Zachary consulted for nonprofits, his silver tongue now for good. They adopted a rescue mutt named Truth. Walks in the Hollywood Reservoir, a ritual of hand-holding and inside jokes. Love deepened. Lazy Sundays in bed. Zachary's head in Connor's lap as he read aloud from dog-eared Kerouac. Midnight confessions over ice cream. Fears voiced and kissed away. But Victor's words festered. A month post-trial, Connor's email pinged. Anonymous sender. Attachment heavy. He clicked. Alone in the home office, Zachary at a meeting. Screenshots. His foster file. Unsealed somehow. Details of abuse splashed in redacted glory. Below, payback's a bitch. Run. Riley. Panic surged. He deleted. Blocked. But the poison spread. By evening, tips hit his inbox. Hackers claiming Victor's prison network. Doxing threats. Zachary found him curled on the couch. Face buried in knees. Talk to me. It's nothing, Connor lied. But Zachary pried. Gentle as unpeeling a bruise. The truth spilled. Old wounds ripped open. Shame flooding back. Zachary's rage was quiet fire. He touches our past? We're ending him, for good. He called in favors cyber forensics. Feds tracing the leak to Victor's cell block cronies. Raids followed. Indictments stacking like dominoes. Yet the real battle was internal. Connor woke screaming some nights. Ghosts of foster hands on him. Zachary held him through it, whispering safe. Loved. Therapy became tandem sessions where they unpacked closets. Traumas. The alpha mask Zachary wore like armor. I was scared of this, Zachary admitted one afternoon. Rain pattering windows. Loving you meant risking everything. But losing you? That's the real risk. Connor straddled him on the therapist's couch. Post-session ritual. Kissing away doubts. Grinding slow until words dissolved into moans. In bed later, it was deeper. Zachary on his back. Connor above. Their gazes locked as he sank down. Rhythm building to a shared release that felt like catharsis. Public life beckoned. An invite, GLAAD awards. Lifetime nod for their courage. Red carpet nerves hit hard. Flashes blinding. Questions probing. Scandal or soulmate? Arm in arm. They owned it. Zachary's speech a mic drop. Love isn't the story. It's the survivor. Backstage. Adrenaline high. They ducked into a green room, locking the door. Zachary hiked Connor against the vanity. Mouths hungry, hands urgent. Quick and dirty fingers, friction, gasps muffled in shoulders, climax crashing like applause. But euphoria cracked. Post-gala, a tail, black sedan shadowing their cab. Paranoia, where victors reach, they ditched it in Echo Park. Hearts pounding, laughing breathless at a dive bar over beers. Our life's a thriller, Connor quipped. Yours, maybe. I'm just the pretty sidekick, Zachary winked, foot nudging his under the table. Home brought normalcy until dawn, when feds knocked. Victor shanked in prison. Suicide, official line. But whispers said otherwise, cartel ties biting back. Closure, bloody as it was. Grief hit odd, for the monster who'd shaped their hell. At the cemetery private, ashes scattered in the Pacific, Zachary and Connor stood waves lapping ankles. He broke us, Connor said. But we mended stronger. Zachary pulled him close. Salt spray mingling tears. Damn right. Their kiss tasted of ocean and oath. Bodies swaying as tide pulled. That night, lovemaking was worship. Slow undulations, Zachary's tongue mapping Connor's scars. Fingers stroking him to edge and over. Then Connor returning, taking Zachary with a tenderness that coaxed sobs of more. Joined, they moved as one. Climax a quiet wave. Aftershocks lingering in whispers. Months turned to year. The bungalow bloomed, herbs in window boxes. Photos on walls, them at pride. Arms raised. Zachary's tattoo close-up. Connor's ink beside. Connor's novel dropped. Runner's Truth. A fictionalized their bestseller. Movie Whispers. Zachary mentored at-risk youth. His alpha softened to ally. One evening, sunset painting the hills. Zachary knelt in the yard. Ring glinting, simple band. Engraved forever fight. Marry me. Not for show. For us. Connor's yes was a tackle hug. Laughter bubbling as they rolled in grass. Celebration spilled indoors. Champagne, then passion. Zachary lifting him against the fridge. Legs wrapped. Thrusts deep and deliberate. Counter rattling with their rhythm. Floor next. Then bed. Exhausting every surface. Body slick. Souls synced. Wedding was small canyons. Friends. Truth as ring-bearer. Vows exchanged under oaks. In shadows and light. I choose you. Honeymoon in Big Sur. Clifftop cabin. Waves crashing below. Days blurred. Hikes hand in hand. Nights of endless exploration. Zachary's mouth learning new angles. Connor's hands coaxing pleas. One storm-lashed evening. Thunder rumbling. They made love on the deck. Rain sheeting. Zachary inside him as lightning forked. Release sinking with the boom. Back home. Life settled. But a letter arrived, Victor's estate. Probated, a box to Connor. Labeled truth. Inside, apology note. Scrawled shaky. I was the shadow. You were the light. Forgive, and a check modest. For the clinics. Connor burned the note. Donated the cash. Forgiven, he told Zachary. But not forgotten. Zachary nodded, pulling him close. Human. Huh? Even monsters. Their embrace led to bed. Slow and sweet. Mutual. Exploratory. Ending in tangled sleep. Yet the past whispered. A call. Old foster brother. Suicidal. Reaching out. Connor drove through night. Zachary shotgun. Talking him down till dawn. Hero work. Raw. Home. Exhausted, they collapsed together, comfort in skin. Proud of you, Zachary murmured. Us, Connor corrected. Love, they learned, was humanistic, flawed, fierce, enduring. 2 years post-verdict. The bungalow had scars of its own. Scuff marks from Truth's zoom eyes. Shelves sagging under Connor's growing library of queer lit and Zachary's policy tomes. Mornings started ritual. Coffee brewing as Zachary jogged the reservoir. Returning sweat glistened for a kiss that often derailed breakfast into countertop quickies. Connor's hands in his hair. Zachary's on his hips. Moans muffled by the whir of the blender. Their rhythm was earned ease, but undercurrents stirred. Connor's novel sequel loomed. Dredging foster ghosts. Zachary's nonprofit expanded. Drawing flack from old guard conservatives who branded him the gay quitter. Protests outside events, signs screaming traitor, brought back the chase's echo. One rally in Pasadena turned ugly. Eggs splattering the stage. Slurs hurled as Zachary keynote on reform. Connor, in the wings, surged forward when a bottle flew, tackling the thrower in a blur of adrenaline. Security swarmed, but the clip went viral, Hale's husband heroics. Backstage, Zachary checked him over, hands trembling. Don't ever. Shut up. Connor yanked him into a storage closet. Door slamming, mouths crashing. Urgent. Angry, Zachary's fingers in his jeans, stroking firm. Connor biting his neck to stifle cries. Release came fast. Messy. Purge of fear. You scared me, Zachary panted after. Foreheads pressed. Ditto. Connor grinned, zipping up. Teamwork. Public fallout was mixed. Supporters swelled. Donors doubled down. But threats escalated. Mail bombs intercepted. Emails laced with venom. They beefed security. Reyes a fixture. But paranoia crept. Was every shadow Victor's ghost? Therapy dug deeper. Abandonment. Connor named it one session. Zachary nodding. Mine too. Dad's benders. Vic's knife in the back. They role-played. Connor voicing foster fears. Zachary the safe harbor. Reversed. Zachary raging at betrayals. Connor the anchor. Progress showed in quiet ways. Zachary cooking pasta from scratch. No recipe. Feeding Connor bites with sauce-smeared kisses. Connor surprising with weekend getaways. Joshua Tree. Stargazing in a tent. Bodies entwined under canvas as coyotes howled. Lovemaking slow and starlit. Zachary's whispers painting futures. Anniversary hit. Third. Leather-themed. Zachary gifted a jacket. Monogrammed. Connor. Cuffs etched fighters. Dinner at their spot, hole-in-wall Italian, ended in alleyway heat. Hands under coats. Grinding against brick till gasps peaked. Home. They savored. Zachary binding Connor's wrists loose with a belt. Teasing with feather-light touches. Mouth and fingers building torture-sweet tension. Connor begged. Released in waves. Then freed. He bound Zachary. Edging him mercilessly. Taking him with lube-slick deliberation. Watching him unravel with a beauty that stole breath. Post-bliss. Tangled. Zachary broached. Kids. Connor stilled. Surrogacy? Adoption? Both. Someday. Zachary's hand on his belly. Wistful. Little us yes. Fighting the world. The dream took root. Consults followed. Agencies. Lawyers. Hope bloomed. Fragile. Then fracture. Connor's book tour. East Coast swing. Panels on resilience. Solo nights in hotels. Missing Zachary's warmth. He ignored the pull until DC, where an after-party donor cornered him. Hale's soft now. You neutered him. Rage simmered homeward. Confrontation brewed over airport pickup. They think I'm your weakness. Zachary's jaw tightened. You're my strength. Damn it. Fight me on it. Connor shoved him against the car. Kiss bruising. Prove it. They barely made the driveway. Clothes shedding in the garage. Zachary pinning him to the hood. Thrusting hard. Car rocking with their fury. Raw. Reclaiming. Ending in shuddering peace. But doubt lingered. A leaked audio, old, doctored, surfaced. Zachary's voice. Slurring Connor's affairs. Political suicide. Tabloids feasted. Hale's hidden hate. Devastation hit. Connor packed a bag. Motel-bound again. Phase? After everything. Zachary pounded the door. Fake. Vic's last laugh. Deep fake tech. Proof came. Forensics clearing it. But trust's thread frayed thin. How many more? Connor whispered through the crack. None. I swear on our rings. Our ink. Zachary slid a USB under raw files. Their unfiltered tapes. Love unedited. Connor played them alone. Moans. Laughs. I love you's pure. Walls fell. He opened the door. Pulling Zachary in slow undress. Bodies mapping apologies. Zachary entering him face to face. Strokes deliberate. Eyes promising eternal. Rebuilt stronger. They sued the leakers, win. Quiet. Life pushed. Adoption approved. A boy named Eli. 5. Foster scarred like Connor. First night home. Chaos, spilled milk. Bedtime battles. But Zachary's lullaby voice. Connor's stories. Woe family. Eli's questions pierced. Why'd bad men hurt Daddy Zach? Evenings became lessons. Honesty over horror stories. Love over loss. One night, Eli asleep, they retreated to the deck. Wine in hand. We did it, Connor said. Head on Zachary's shoulder. We're doing it. Zachary kissed his temple. Every day, passion followed. Quiet. In the guest room to not wake the kid, hands exploring anew. Zachary's mouth on Connor's chest. Fingers curling just right. Release whispered. Spooned after. Zachary inside still. They drifted. Connected. Years layered. Eli's soccer games. Zachary coaching. Connor's TED Talk. Zachary beaming front row. Threats faded. Replaced by normalcy. PDA wars. Vet visits for truth. Gray-muzzled now. Climax came subtle. Eli's school play. Zachary as king. Connor as scribe meta-magic. Post-show. Family dinner. Laughter-free. But humanism's heart. A call from Eli's old foster mom. Broken. Seeking amends. Connor mediated. Zachary's hand in his. Forgiveness a bridge. Nightcap led to bed. Family tucked. Them stealing moments. 69 on silk. Mutual devotion. Peaks synced in harmony. Decade mark. Vow renewal. Beach at dawn. Eli. Teen tall. Officiating with eye rolls and heart. You guys are gross cute. Rings refreshed. They honeymooned local Malibu. Surf lessons. Sandy sex in dunes. Waves crashing applause. Home. Eli off to college. Empty nest echoed. They filled it. Travels Paris. Hands in the Louvre. Tokyo. Onsen soaks turning steamy. A scare. Zachary's checkup. Shadow on lung, smoker's ghost from youth. Biopsy clear, but fear bonded deeper. Hospital vigil reversed roles, Connor the rock, Zachary vulnerable. Recovery, gentle love, Connor topping slow, Zachary's gasps gratitude. Golden years crept, silver in Connor's hair, laugh lines etching Zachary's eyes. Grandkids, Ellie's twins, filled the bungalow with chaos anew. Porch swings at dusk, hands laced, stories retold. From running to this, Connor mused. Worth every shadow, Zachary kissed him, soft. Their final passion. Quiet, in the big bed, fingers linked. Bodies familiar, climax a sigh, sleep entwined. Epilogue whispered. Legacy not mansion, but love's quiet revolution, human, flawed, eternal. In the end, they didn't conquer power. They claimed peace.